At Vibe Aesthetics and Wellness, we believe confidence isn't just how you look, it's how you feel. From subtle, natural aesthetics to personalized wellness care, everything we do is intentional. This is beauty with purpose. At Vibe Men's Health, we take that same approach. We focus on what matters most: strength, energy, and performance. Built on real data, real medicine, and real results, we're here to help you look better, feel stronger, and live fully. Come vibe with us today.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 10.
Good evening and welcome into Mississippi Live Weather at 10. I'm meteorologist Gabe Maynard, tracking what should be a few spotty showers overnight, but overall not tracking any severe weather anymore. That was the good news we were talking about at 9 o'clock, carrying that over into 10 o'clock. With that being said, there are still some rain chances, but should be below severe limits overnight. But that's not really the story that we're watching. Yes, a few rumbles are possible overnight, very limited rain chances beyond, but the real headline: heat becoming the big story moving forward. And not only the big story, a dangerous story here in North Mississippi, as we're talking feels like values 110 plus at some point over this 7-day stretch. And we'll look at that entire 7-day forecast in just a moment. The first 12 were around 30% coverage by 11, probably overdoing that just a bit. But with that boundary moving in towards northwest Mississippi, it does allow some additional development and additional strengthening with what's overhead right now. And again, we'll get a full look at that radar here in just a moment. Our Mama Justice Doppler radar, 20% coverage overnight. And while a few showers are possible into that morning commute, overall coverage around 10 to 20% for the bulk of the day. So like I mentioned, the good news heading into tonight: severe weather risks coming out of North Mississippi. We are not seeing any chance of severe weather overnight. That threat being pushed back there towards the plains. We're seeing that towards Denver, southeast Wyoming, and really towards western sections of Kansas and Nebraska. That's where level 3 threat is in place with all forms of severe weather possible. But as we look towards Thursday, that threat doesn't move towards us at all here in North Mississippi. In fact, still about, I would say 100 miles away, looking at my rough guesstimation there on distance. Yeah, 115. And then as we get into Friday, still about 100 miles or so away from us here in North Mississippi with that level 1 threat. With that being said, and we'll see it on surface analysis here in just a moment, we have a wide open Gulf. This is a frontal boundary that's lifting more towards the north, and that's what's allowing storms to develop. But our story is shifting to the hot department and the moisture. And you see that on dew points. We're talking up to 80-degree dew points in some spots along coastal regions, 70 degrees or more here in North Mississippi. So we have high enough dew points. We have plenty of heat. We're talking right now about 70 to 80 degrees across North Mississippi. And as we head into our Thursday forecast, we'll already see those temperatures climb. Those feels like values climb. And Friday following suit. And again, you'll see it on surface analysis. We kind of have this frontal boundary right here. But as we zoom things out, you can see how that'll start to lift more towards the north, take those rain chances north, colliding with this next system. And that leaves us with a wide open Gulf once again. And that's going to allow that moisture to build. A few showers, not at all impossible, but we're going to remain below severe limits as of the end of our work week. So tracking Futurecast out, there's your chance at a few rumbles of thunder overnight. Primarily northwest Mississippi, right along parts of Highway 61, and that's really where the rain chances sit right now and will continue into the overnight hours as well. But real spotty in coverage as we head into our Thursday morning commute. And even then, the spotty chances we do have, light to moderate in nature. So this is not going to be anything significant, and we're not really talking about a high impact situation as we get our Thursday morning started. We're still 65 degrees out in Red Bay, Alabama, 66 Boonville and Iuka, 70 towards Clarksdale and Cleveland. So a comfortable start to the day, especially whenever you talk about the rest of the 7-day stretch. And that makes for a perfect forecast for the pool as we take a look at that IMPC pool day forecast. 74 by 8, 87 by noon, and wrapping it up towards the afternoon around 89 degrees. So that's definitely a few ticks up from where we were today and what we saw today. Heat indices about in the high category. So it's your typical summer day, all things considered. Chances of rainfall around 30%. So even though they are in the forecast, this is really what you can expect. 8, 9 o'clock, yes, a few pop-up, scattered showers possible. Not even expecting any rumbles of thunder with that setup. So our meteorologist Magda McCauley going to be looking at those throughout your morning commute. But also looking ahead to additional chances by the afternoon, these building in towards southwest part of our viewing area, right along Greenville, Hollandale, Chula, and those will have a few rumbles of thunder, but overall coverage still pretty spotty. Even in Chickasaw County, not impossible to get a rumble of thunder there as well, and some brief heavy downpours, but those do start to work their way in and out of the area, so give it a couple minutes and it'll pass on through. That's the lovely part about the summer forecast. Only unfortunate part, it has such a sporadic development that unfortunately it's really tough to pinpoint accuracy or have pinpoint accuracy on these rain chances. So there are chances, yes, and those are for all of North Mississippi, but that doesn't necessarily mean all of North Mississippi will see rain chances. So shows the sporadic development that we'll be dealing with for our Thursday afternoon. 90 Amory, Tupelo, and Houston. We're 90 towards Kosciuszko and Belzona, 89 Clarksdale, 89 up there towards Holly Springs as well. Heat indices, though, that's where we're adding that Mississippi mugginess and feeling like the triple digits, Cleveland and Greenville. Upper 90s for the rest of us along 55, and then working our way east, low to mid 90s. So really depends on where you're at, but every degree matters in this situation, as that's the difference from a extremely hot and miserable day to, hey, it's bearable. So as we look at our overnight hours Thursday, yes, a few rumbles of thunder are still possible with a few of these pop-up cells, but well below severe limits as we're not tracking that severe weather threat. Those storms pushed off there towards the north, up towards Tennessee, Kentucky, and all the way up there towards Illinois once again. So we're just on the outskirts of even a few rumbles of thunder. So if this shifts maybe a county south, then we could be looking at some rain chances towards that Friday morning commute for Alcorn, Tippah, Benton County, but still remaining a good bit north for that severe weather threat. We're 72 Houston, Tupelo, and Eupora, 74 out there along the river, Clarksdale, Cleveland, Greenville, and Tunica. So shows you that as we're adding the moisture, those temperatures are going to climb too. You know, whenever we're talking about dew points, that's our floor of how much we can cool off. So the fact that we're going to be 72 to 74 degrees to start out our Friday morning shows there's a ton of moisture that's upping those dew points. So Friday morning, we stay mostly dry. So the moisture will really just be in the air rather than actually being produced in the form of rainfall. So throughout our Friday, while a few spotty showers are possible, as we look at that forecast here in North Mississippi, it's going to be the mugginess that we have to deal with once again, upping those feels like values to the triple digits, and temperatures are already going to be pretty toasty for our Friday. Looking at those high temperatures, we're 94 Houston, Amory, Columbus, 93 Starkville and Tupelo, 92 Eupora and New Albany, even seeing it out there towards Greenwood, 90 Senatobia and Oxford, and 91 South Haven and Tunica. Our triple digit threshold being reached in parts of Houston, Amory, Columbus, and Vernon, 98 Belzona and Greenwood, and 97 there towards Greenville and South Haven for those feels like values. So what we went ahead and did is bump down rain chances for tomorrow. We're at 20%. Didn't want to go all the way to 30 with models trending down. And honestly, with how they usually go heading into the event, they've been trying to trend down. So I think 20% is a good assessment of where we'll sit with rain chances tomorrow. So more mist than hit. Really dry by Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and that dry air will allow those temperatures to climb. So while it's showing 94 degrees Sunday, 96 Monday, and 97 Tuesday, heat indices are going to be upwards of 105 to 110. That's still toasty. That's still miserable. But fortunately, I think we back out of that mugginess at least enough to where we're not talking about extreme heat warnings, at least not just yet. And so I'm trying to give you a positive in all of this. It's just going to be a miserably hot forecast. So grab the water, grab the air. You're going to need both as we head through this stretch. Coming up in the next 60 seconds, we're breaking down that entire hot forecast ahead, and we're looking to ways to stay safe in the heat. That coming up on Mississippi Live Weather at 10 as we continue in the next 60 seconds.
Rain, humidity, wind, and storms can take a toll on your home. When they do, trust the team at Absolute Restoration for roofing, water damage, and mold remediation. 662-760-4348.
Room to Room's All-American Savings event is on. Store-wide savings on your furniture favorites. Score deep discounts on mattresses and 5-year special financing. Plus, you can take home a vacation for 2 with your purchase. Only at Room to Room Tupelo. Happy birthday, America.
Looking for a place to finally call home? At Tupelo Home Center, we make it easy. From finding the perfect home to making financing a breeze, we'll take care of everything. Your new home is closer than you think. Pre-qualify today at TupeloHomeCenter.com.
Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, Here's meteorologist Gabe Maynor.
Below average today, but not the story moving forward. We're 89 degrees Thursday, and then we're above average from there on out. 92 Friday, 94 Sunday, 96 Monday, 97 by Tuesday. So a toasty pattern ahead, but like I was mentioning, it's the heat indices that are telling the big story. We're talking 95 plus for Thursday, same thing there for Friday. And as we get towards our weekend, really the latter part of the weekend, we jump from that 100-degree feels like values to 105. That's where we're probably seeing the first heat advisories being issued for us here in North Mississippi, and those just continue to ramp up Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday as we're right around that 110 threshold and potentially some excessive heat warnings. Now we'll see if we get up to that category. That would be some very dangerous heat, but either way, it's toasty, it's muggy, it's a time where we need to prepare, stay safe, and practice safe heat habits. Stay indoors in the air conditioning whenever possible. Take frequent breaks from the outdoors, especially if it's in the middle of the afternoon. Remain plenty hydrated. I know we're in for July 4th plans and even some pre-July 4th plans with fireworks this weekend. Make sure to drink the appropriate beverages, plenty of water on standby because we will be dealing with those toasty temperatures during those events this weekend. Check on the most vulnerable, children, the elderly, just to make sure they're taken care of. And if you must go outdoors, go early on in the day or later in the day to where the sun isn't beaming down on you 24/7. We want to make sure that we're doing what we can to stay safe. Now, as we look at the latest on Mama Justice Doppler radar, I didn't want to go out of the forecast before, taking a look at that real quick because we do still have some storms that are starting to get not necessarily organized out there in northwest Mississippi, but at least looking a little bit stronger with the lightning output. I told you, at 9 o'clock, we were talking, 5 strikes, and it went up to about 20 strikes. Now we're up to about 144 on this specific batch of thunderstorms from Sledge to Marks all the way there towards Batesville. Unfortunately, our Batesville camera is down. Otherwise, we would have a direct view into this storm. I'm trying to think. Crenshaw would be in the middle of the rainfall. Where would be best? Clarksdale, maybe? If Clarksdale's looking there towards the east, we'll see. But as we look out of Clarksdale tonight, and we will be seeing those rumbles of thunder in the distance, if this is, sure enough, we are looking the right direction. That's all I needed to see was a little bit of lightning. And you really see the structure on this storm too. Look right there. You can see the towering storm tops there building up on the horizon. That's indicating that these are still strengthening storms. I'm trying to see if there's any fuzzy inclination there. It does look like we're still pretty, have some pretty sharp edges. So that means this is still a maturing storm. I don't think we get all the way to the severe limits. This is really the peak intensity that our models were predicting and forecasting for. So beyond that 10 and 11 o'clock hour, these should come down in intensity, but doesn't mean you're getting away from a light show. We have plenty of light there. That does look to be a little bit more interesting base there. Let me see that lightning strike one more time. Oh, of course, now it stops. I need to see a strike that's right there on the horizon. I'm going to try to hold off here for just a moment. It does look like a little bit of a tail there. I don't think we're necessarily talking about any rotating storms in this situation, but that might be a little bit of a shelf or potentially a roll cloud trying to form there at the base. I don't think we're necessarily a full-blown wall cloud by any means, as this is still a bit of a ways away. And we're looking on the backside of the storm, but it does look a little bit interesting there on the horizon. Potentially a little bit of a shelf. I want to bring it back to our radar real quick, our Mama Justice Doppler radar, and let's look. And we'll have to look at our Memphis site here. Yeah, so that tells me that things are looking more organized aloft. Look at the difference. See the pinks that are showing up? That's indicating some higher DBZs, which indicate higher storm tops as well. As we push up to our Memphis site, looking much less significant. That doesn't mean it won't pack a punch. If we look at those severe threats, it's not impossible to get some small hail out of this, but the hail core still relatively weak. I want to put this on 3D mode real quick, and we can kind of cut into this storm and clear off. I'll have to put it horizontal. Okay, those storm tops are not incredibly tall, so this is far away from severe limits. Does look like you're getting a little bit of some hail there aloft. That's just over Marks, where you're getting some of that purple to show up. But actually, if we take it 3D mode again real quick, and I'll reset things. Let me slice into this storm. And as we slice that and kind of drag it through, so about 10, 15,000 feet where that core is forming, it's not impossible to get some small hail out there towards Marks. So let's go ahead and look and see if we can even get a track on this. It's usually pretty difficult whenever we're talking about tracks on these boundaries because there's not a ton of movement to it. And as we look over the last hour or so, trying to build there south and east, but you can see how it starts to back build a little bit, that's a sign of it being a boundary that it's kind of forming. Watch right there over Marks. Get that leading edge there, and then it just builds back, builds back, builds back. So I don't necessarily think that this is a trackable storm. I would say if you're in Marks, Bobo, Curtis Station, Asa, even out there towards Cortland and Batesville, you're going to be dealing with those showers here in the next few moments, and those will continue to produce some heavy rainfall over a short period of time. One thing I do want to look at, being that we do see some back building there, is our 24-hour rainfall totals, or at least let's go 3 hours on this actually. And yeah, you can see those starting to climb beyond 2 inches towards Hawley. Off the top of my head, I guess I need to research that. And over in Crenshaw as well, where some of those heavy rainfall rates are starting to amount to a decent bit. You know, rainfall rates right now, let me go ahead and go back to that storm specifically. And we're still talking, this is the latest scan. There we go. 7.5 inches an hour. Yeah, that's enough to really put out some heavy rainfall and dump some heavy rainfall. 7.4 just east of Marks. So that's what I'm watching with this cluster. And that's why it was a little bit higher than the rest of our severe weather threats. So we'll continue to monitor this storm, but like I mentioned, still a bit of a ways away from being severe. But we'll keep eyes on that as we head overnight and as that crosses into Highway 6 in Batesville. And I know we have a view there in Crenshaw. Let me see if I can pull that up. But this is going to be on the backside of the storm. Still probably getting a bit of a light show there as well. This is looking 343, so that would be close to the north and west. I can see it being moved. I bet you the North Mississippi Storm Chasers are active this evening with this camera in particular. Yeah, plenty of lightning there. I'm not shocked at all. 77 degrees, so still seeing those temperatures come down. That rain-cooled air definitely helping. You know, this will be one to watch. These storms, one to watch as we head into those overnight hours. What models were forecasting were that these would peak in intensity by, okay, there we go, looking towards the south. These would peak in intensity, this is actually towards the west, peak in intensity by 10 and 11 o'clock. Beyond that, they should come down a good bit in intensity as well. So, you know, right now, we're hoping that this is the worst of it, and then it starts to get a little bit better beyond that point. So we'll keep eyes on this behind the scenes, and if we need to cut in as necessary, we will. But as of right now, remaining below severe limits, and I expect it to remain that way as those storm tops are not necessarily overly tall. Well, that being said, that one there's 50,000 feet east of Marks towards Bobo. How's that trended? The boundary. That's just that same boundary allowing these storms to kind of peak in intensity there. So we're sure going to monitor this storm, and we will cut in live as needed as we head further into the night. So keep it here for the very latest. Download that Mississippi Live Weather app as you head into the overnight hours to let you know when the lightning's moving in, the rainfall's moving in, but that's only going to be for a select few as these start to taper out overnight. So download that app today, free and available on iOS and Android as we keep monitoring things behind the scenes. Like, subscribe, and follow on all of our socials, and we will go live as needed. But if we stay away from severe limits, then we will be live at 6:37 and 7:30 with our meteorologist Maggie McCauley. Oh, let's bring it back up. Go back. There we go. At 6:37 and 7:30 with our meteorologist Maggie McCauley and Chief Meteorologist Matt Loppon and I live at 5, 6, 9, and 10 right here from the Room to Room Weather Center for your Thursday. So keep it here for the very latest.
Every legend starts somewhere.
Not with perfection, but with a decision.
The decision to show up, work harder, and believe this place can change everything.
At Northeast, you're more than just a number.
We're built on opportunity, and our students are willing to rise to the occasion.
Here, success isn't handed to you, it's earned.
You don't just leave with a degree, you leave as a legend.